Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. My name is Elisha Lee. I'm a licensed counselor. And what I've been coming across in my practice recently is quite a few of the clientele have been needing and wanting support around different topics around communication in order to better their connections, better their relationships, and even better their situations, even when it's within networking events, if it's just different types of meaningful relationships, family, going to these public places, especially since more and more we are meeting in person and less um, digitally. So I have decided to, continue these lives around different topics of communication. The last time I spoke with you all about some of the building blocks of communication, and in that last live, I made a topic, or I spoke about um, the topic of that how active listening plays a role in the building blocks of communication. So I'm going to dive a little bit deeper within that. Um, it's a critical skill that's not just fundamental within our professional lives, but also in our personal relationships. So I thought it would be important to delve in this a little bit further. To define what active listening can look like, it's you being fully engaged, you're concentrating, you're understanding, you're responding, and then remembering what's being said. It's a skill that takes practice, but it pays off by improving your communication and strengthens your relationships. It's, you know, quite often when it comes to mindfulness, a lot of times it's mind and these practices of mindfulness, you practice just being present, just being in that moment, not allowing yourself or your mind to race on your to-do list or the things that you have to do. And active listening to me is kind of like a form of mindfulness in a way, because you're kind of making yourself be present and really hearing what that person is saying and making sure that you're understanding and getting clarity on what's being said, so that within your response, you're not mishearing what's being said. So, a foundation of active listening is making sure you have given that other person your full, undivided attention. You put aside the distracting thoughts, you put aside your phone, anything around that could be as distraction, it is put aside, and you are completely focused on what the person is saying. And you can show that person that you are paying attention through eye contact as well as with your body language. You want to avoid prejudgment within the active listening. You want to keep an open mind. You want to listen without trying to criticize or criticizing what they're telling you. Just hear what they're saying for being what they're saying. And if what someone says is alarming, take a deep breath and then continue to listen without having conclusions or jumping to a conclusion. We're always going to come to a conclusion. And within your verbal and nonverbal communication space, make sure that your body language, your gestures, your nods, and the small comments like yes and I see show that you're engaged, show that you are really listening and hearing what is being said. Within this role of active listening, one of the key pieces is making sure that you are understanding and not just responding to the person. So instead of perhaps preparing for your response, focus on what they're saying and then reflect on what they've said by paraphrasing. Reflect and ask some questions. So what you're saying could start your reflection, and ask questions that promote discovery and insight. You also want to be acknowledging and recognizing the speaker's feelings without saying that you necessarily agree. It can be something like, it sounds like you're passionate about, or it seems like that was a difficult decision for you. And delay your response. It's natural to want to share your ideas or experiences, but just kind of pause and give it a moment. There is power to the pause. Allow the speaker to finish their thought and make sure they feel understood before you add your perspective. So my suggestion, especially if it is a personal, a romantic, familiar relationship or friendship that is very, very important to you, is active practicing. If you're working through some challenging moments with someone, but you want to fight to get that relationship to a healthier place, scheduling sometimes, and I know it's terrible to say scheduling sometimes, but yes, scheduling sometimes, time block that time where you and that other person can practice this active listening skill, because it is a practice. We don't necessarily pause within our communication. What we tend to do is react to what someone is saying within our communication. So this is a way to practice the power of the pause within active communication, and using the tools and the things that I have mentioned within this live. Be aware of some common barriers, distractions, emotional reactions, or even forming responses while the other person is speaking. I think we all do that sometimes. When someone is talking, we want to respond, and we are already preparing in our mind what we're going to say. But in this situation, you want to push the pause and just be with that person and hear what they're saying. Acknowledging these challenges and consciously working to overcome them is a way to kind of really get to a place of having better communication within your relationships. And what's the impact of active communication? Well, active listening, it can dramatically improve your relationships, because you're building trust. People who feel heard consider that to be a safe space, and it helps to deepen the understanding and connection you have with that other person. Professionally, it can enhance problem solving capabilities. It can help to negotiate and, in some cases, negate conflicts. And it helps to build a better team dynamic. So view every conversation, as it makes sense, as an opportunity to learn something new. Stay curious, and you'll find yourself more open to listening actively. This is a skill, and it requires intention and practice, but the benefits are profound. By making an effort to understand before responding, you're not just hearing the words, you're connecting with the person who's saying the words as well. So thank you for joining me with this live. I hope it was helpful to you, and you all enjoy your Sunday and have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.